You're listening to Greater Good Radio Hawaii. Please visit us online at greatergoodradio.com. Today's guest is Greg Kim, the founder of and partner in Vantage Counsel, LLC. Mr. Kim was a former partner in the law firm of Goodsell, Anderson, Quinn & Stifel and is an expert in the areas of venture capital, corporate securities and mergers and acquisitions, representing companies ranging from startup to public companies and venture capital firms, including Hamburg and Quist. Social entrepreneurship runs strong through Mr. Kim's family as his son, River, raised over $20,000 for charity this year.
How do you develop your credibility? You have to be working for a long period of time and have that reputation. Because if somebody's been working maybe 3 or 4 years and strikes off on their own, meets at Starbucks, it doesn't seem as credible.
As real. Yeah, I don't think the market is ready for a firm that doesn't have a location. So we do have a downtown office. We view it more as our campus where people can come in and out and work. In fact, I'd like to set it up, one part of it, to be just like Starbucks, where we have coffee bar and people sit around tables and talk, because people like to work that way. But that's a great point, because we do need trappings of those of credibility so that clients that seek that will feel like, okay, this. So having a downtown office, having a website, being listed in the standard legal publications like Martindale Hubbell, that's part of our business plan, because while we have some pretty interesting ideas of how the legal profession can change, we realize that clients need comfort that it's a real law firm and will have some of the trappings of a bricks and mortar firm. So we have both. For people that want to work in the office all the time downtown, that's fine too. We just view that as a variable cost they'll have to pick up, But if they need it and they think they can make money off of that, that's fine with us. We do need FaceTime, though, with each other, so we do have times where we congregate in our office. But the virtual nature of our business actually allows you to have more FaceTime with more people than being cooped up in your office all day.
FaceTime meaning that you're actually in a meeting room, or would you be maybe on net meeting or some kind of internet?
No, both, but right now more physically together. We go to clients' offices. We can go to their homes. A lot of clients live near Kahala. We meet them in the mall, In that case, I can be in my shorts. They don't really care. People want client service. They want accessibility. They want good quality work. More and more, I was seeing that I never saw my clients anyway. Actually, I spent a week in Las Vegas a few weeks ago, and we did a number of closings. Clients didn't even know where I was. It didn't really matter. So I didn't feel obligated to tell them, as long as I get the work done.
Is your business model more of a mortgage net branch, where you can work where you want as long as you get the work done? If the client feels more comfortable with going to your office, you have the downtown location available.
Right. We have those alternatives.
Okay. And then when you talked about recruiting, so are you going to also be recruiting attorneys from the mainland, or is it just local in Hawaii?
Once we prove the model out in Hawaii, we do plan to scale out of Hawaii. And in fact, I mentioned we have one Silicon Valley attorney now that we're working with, because to scale in a bricks and mortar environment, it's a very expensive proposition. You have to find an office, you have to lease it, you have to do all the bricks and mortar things. For us to open up an office, say in Japan or China, we just find a person and we say, hey, why don't you sign up with us? If you give us work, we can give you a percentage of the revenue. You cannot do that if you're not connected in the same firm. There's an ethical rule against that. And if we find work that you can do, we'll send the work to you, and you get to keep most of the revenue there. So even from a financial standpoint, it makes sense to hook up with a larger body of attorneys. And also, it's kind of lonely to be on your own. So you want to be part of a network, but you also want independence. You don't want to have to show up 9 to 5 every day.
These are not employees then, or even contractors. It's a network of almost like peers that refer business to each other.
You can view it as a lawyer community. I think it's a little more than just an internet community, though, because we do want to work on projects together. And one of the requirements, I think, if you're brought on the roster and you don't live in Hawaii and we don't work closely with you, is you have to be able to work independently. So we have 3 categories of people that can join our firm. The first is the owner group. The second would be of counsel types, which work independently and they make money off of revenues generated. And the third type would be an employee person, but we're probably going to delay that part of it till we get a little bit more stability, because that would be a fixed cost. People need salaries, and that's especially starting out right out of law school. And so to be able to do that, we need to get the revenues going to the point where we know that it's going to be fine. Right now, we're looking for people that either have business or are more of a marketing nature, or willing to just see how it goes, you know. I think for the better attorneys, the ones who are confident, they're not going to have a problem with that.
Would those be attorneys typically working on their own already?
Yes and no. We have people in our company that need to be supervised, but they may have strengths. For example, one of our colleagues is Darren Matsuda. He came to our firm from another firm in town. He is going to learn to do more business work, but his strength right now is he's such a great networker. He knows everyone, and
so he's creating the rain.
He can create the rain, and to him, we have a platform to create rain because we have good attorneys with good reputations. So I think that that's an opportunity for him, and we're happy to share the revenue with him if it's successful, you know.
Are most of the attorneys somewhat experienced, maybe a decade or so? Because typically when newer attorneys end up in the office, a lot of them say, I like to go into a big office because there's somebody who's an expert in something here and I can learn from that. Are you finding that it's the same with this kind of virtual network, or are you finding that it's different?
Well, it hasn't been built out completely. We do want to find different levels of experience. Right now, I'm probably the oldest, or I guess you could say most experienced attorney on our roster, you know, having been 20 years out. But we have my partner, Elizabeth Lee, has been out practicing over 10 years. And then Darren is behind, I don't know exactly how many years of experience, but probably less than 10. And Melissa Pavlicek is another attorney on our roster who's been practicing for probably around 10 years. And Vince Chow is our California attorney. He used to be at Goodsill, worked for me in the corporate department. And he has his own business in Silicon Valley, but he signed up to be with us to partly because we're focused on China, and he's fluent in Chinese, and he likes that part of the world. Yeah.
How long ago did you start Vantage Counsel then?
October 2004.
In terms of I don't know if you want to talk about this, but is profitability in terms of your business, you're finding it's much more profitable doing it this way, even at the earlier stages, or you still have to build it up?
Well, you know, I think we're a startup, so we're realistic in what our expectations. But I will say that there are definitely a number of months where I make more income than I was making before, which is pretty good for a startup. And, you know, but we need to build, you know, I guess the bottom line for even our company, and we'll talk about social entrepreneurship later, is we're not about money. We're about helping businesses establish themselves in Hawaii and grow. Our model allows that because not everything we need to do needs to generate money immediately. We can invest some time into businesses that may not have money because we want to help create the next generation of jobs. So the beauty of it is, though, with our low overhead model, high margin, we only have to work 4 or 5 hours a day, really, on stuff that generates revenue presently to make ends meet, to do fine. The rest of the day we can either devote to revenue generating activities that make money or invest in companies that don't. And that's mostly what we do. We go around and try to help companies launch. Because if they don't have good counsel in the beginning, it could mean their ultimate failure, even if it's a good business.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned for more on Greater Good Radio.